Okay, we are recording. Hit this go live button. Get the show on the road. We're live.
Alive.
Hooray. After my computer once again tried to prevent us from broadcasting. You are listening to Let's Go Jojo, the weekly JoJo's Bizarre Adventure podcast. Hang on a second. Let's
Oh
rewind
no!
that.
Too soon, man. Too soon.
Okay. Here we go. Right, take two. You are listening to Let's Go, the weekly anime podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne.
Hello.
It's Niall.
How are you?
And it's me, Brian. And on this episode, we are covering anime that aired the week of the 20-something to the 31st of March.
Oh my goodness.
I forgot to write it down.
27th of March to the 25th of March
25th.
to
Yes, because I got the dates
the
wrong last
31st
week.
of March.
Yes,
Yeah.
I cocked the dates up last week. With the exception, it's back on Netflix.
Legendary hero.
Uncle from Another World, episode 8. I got through it
Oh,
by
God.
transforming into the most powerful being I know.
He returns just in time to save us from like having less things to talk about as things start to end. It's like, don't worry, the uncle's come back to regale us of his many adventures, sat around the coffee table with his nephew and that next door neighbor who likes him.
Yeah.
The nephew.
Yes, after many COVID delays of some sort of effect, and also a director leaving. They've had their tribulations, but I'll tell you all about it.
Hold on 1 second. In my excitement, somehow Audible has decided to start playing a audiobook in the background.
Ooh.
Alexa, shut up.
I like it.
He's boarding up on his fucking crime and punishment for Bungo Stray Dogs. Any clues in here to the plot? Maybe.
It was Carl Hyacин's double whammy, but I was like, who's talking in my flat? Yeah, so we're picking up with the three heroes who's helping out, I assume, in episode 7. I didn't go back to check how this all connected to the previous bit.
No.
These guys have come up before, but like that wasn't the first time I'd met them. I'd erased their memories of the prior time I'd met them.
Yeah. And this clarifies that they're 3 childhood friends. And the reason they go on adventures is because the two lads had promised the older girl when they were kids that they'd go and get a replacement for the wand, quote unquote, wand they broke when they were playing as children.
They've also been ordained by the church as the legendary heroes party in a cunning ruse to try and squeeze more money out of the war budget to squeeze more money into the war budget.
I like how very conspiratorial and you're kind of playing the games. It's like, yeah, this is about I'm putting them on the chopping block to save my skin and that kind of thing. But it's it's all actually pretty fucking innocent, and it's just yeah, you're just forced into these situations, man. It's kind of shit, administration. Am I right?
Just Uncle comes in, he doesn't really fucking care, and he just
he doesn't care about any of that shit. The reason the world is fucked up, as they find out in this episode, is because of the uncle, but also the reason it can be fixed up is because of the uncle. So it balances out. It's pretty good overall.
Yeah. So he helps them go through this dungeon. They get the wand.
Well, initially he takes them through the shortcut that is that you get when the dungeon loops back in itself, so you can go straight back out the exit. He's like, wow, it must be the secret way you come out here if you've already cleared this dungeon. And they're all like, oh, the legendary wand of Magellan. That's great.
Cool. So he goes, minor race, and then brings them
drags them back out.
Uncle, what are you doing? I was dragging them back out, and we're just gonna reset again, and we had a real adventure. We disarmed all the traps and fought all the monsters.
They got through the dungeon through their own gumption. I helped out a little, but not too much. So they earned it this time. So
no, hang on. No, maybe I shouldn't have been there. So maybe I should try it again, send it back in again. But before we can do that, you have an earnest moment of sincerity from thank you, whatever his name is now in the fantasy. Thank you, Uncle, for helping us.
What fake name did he give the fucking the
trio
party?
I think it's Wolf
Gunblood or Wolf Blood.
Yeah, I think he gave them his real name. But yeah.
Okay.
It's Wolf is the fake name that Mabel calls him, and they give to the general bishop at the end.
Well, I guess these are 3 randos, so it's fine to give his real name. But if in front of like a bishop and the captain of the guard and a whole fucking crowd of people. Is like, I should give a fake name because this is official. That kind of thing.
Well,
Yeah,
also,
I
I think
mean,
it was,
yeah.
it'd be very weird in a fantasy world to be shouting out a Japanese man's name into the sky to summon him, I think is the other. It doesn't fit into the genre. But yes, the second part is him going to find out why those three adventurers keep on being sent into more dangerous situations so they can cope. And
This
yes,
is
they
higher than their level, man. What are you doing? Come on.
the general is placing bets on them dying as he sends them on in order to make money for the city. And they've hired a new protector, which is Mabel, who the people back at home, the nephew and the would-be girlfriend, are like, oh no, she's turned into a horrible monster now. She's got a job.
Like a need, he's gotten a job and has heirs now. Yeah.
I was talking on the side and saying, my rival, we meet again and have an amazing battle of spells and swordplay is flying. There's fun says, how are you doing? Oh, I'm great. I got this new job. It's pretty good. But but hey, if we're gonna to keep you in mind if anything opens up, you could be like my little fucking like kohai. It'd be great. You're a wanker, yeah.
Yeah, but then he angers her, but then she attacks him, and it turns out the bishop is controlling Mabel, and isn't concerned about the soldiers, so he protects the soldiers with the healing tickets that the priest, the magician, cleric, whatever class she is supposed to be from the three friends, had given him.
Some kind of cleric or meter class, yeah.
And they realise that, oh no. He poisoned basically. Oh, but before that, we've had the slap fight because he turned the
oh yes,
transforming.
Basically, he talked down the captain of the guard, who's like he's forced into the situation because of budgetary constraints, and it's like I had to put them in this situation, and it was really shitty of him. And it's like I turned into the most powerful creature I could imagine. My senpai from second year.
It's his eighth grade. It's his 8th grade teacher.
Eighth grade. Yeah.
I have money up on saying what's Saga. Is this going to be the one where he turns into Sonic? Is this going to be it?
Not yet, no. Because this guy would always win a debate. As in back in the 90s, teachers could hit their students, and that would shut them the fuck up. Not beat them to hurt them, but just like a slap across the face and be like, "Yes, sir. Okay, yeah." You kind of like. He wins the debate by also shouting gibberish after he slaps them by the sound of it. Just being a really awful teacher, but he's like
slurring his words awfully. Yeah,
is how it goes. It's not the first time or last time that happens in the episode. But this is apparently corporal punishment is a thing that works on grown ass adult captain of the guards, where he's like, "Yeah, okay, sorry, I'm sorry," which is a great fucking gag. And just the other, like the nephew and the girl in the thing going like, wow, 90s fucking teachers were something else.
Yeah.
It's just also, you kind of puts it out of fun saying, well, I was only like a 16-year-old kid when I fucking like went into this fantasy world. So I never had any experience in the real world.
He doesn't know what a powerful man would be. Yeah.
So I turned into what I think would be the most powerful thing it would be. An adult of some standing who's kind of scary.
Because the earlier joke is when he's going to explain that the general's is doing things wrong. The nephew's like, "Yes, this is it. This is the power of modern morality in a fantasy world." Teaching them about
he goes into the whole
rights.
trope. Yeah.
And then the uncle can't do it because he points out, I was only 20. I had only had a part-time job. I just react subservient to anybody who's got some sort of senior management vibe to him. Yes, he summoned the best debater that he could think of, which was this horrible teacher. And we also get like it doesn't like sort of be overly nostalgic about that or the present, because it's clear like the nephew talks about like, oh, nowadays teachers can traumatize you just by talking, and then he starts having a flashback himself of being traumatized at school by.
And he's like, anyway, let's get back to the fantasy thing. It's like, this is his coping mechanism, watching his uncle's home movies. I guess, yeah.
Definitely will wrap.
Yeah, it's just a kind of nice little bit as well with like, fun. Oh, but Captain, you should learn to rely on us, as your guards. We can do this. We can be that fun saying, yeah, maybe I should be doing that. I've been so wrong. If I'm saying, will you stick to your word? I'll stick to my word. Yeah, and then he's still in the back of the room. He's morphed his face into it again. It's just like, Yeah.
Okay,
We'll do
yeah.
it. I'll promise. I promise.
And all the guards cheer because they've convinced the captain that it's like, no, he's just been beaten into submission by this older, fat gentleman.
But he will now take care of all these problems. This massive goblin army that's appeared due to the dragons not being there to stop the goblin army anymore. All they have to do if there's a problem is call his name, and he'll be there. And then he flies off, turns into a dragon and flies off, and then Mabel gets fired. They no longer need her.
It was like applied under fraudulent circumstances, misrepresented her credentials.
Again, it's back with a vengeance. It's doing its thing again. I think some of my favorite jokes besides the teacher, homeroom teacher stuff was where they're watching him pull the memories out of the cleric of the other heroes, and they're watching, like, it's weird to watch a picture in picture, and I was like, but I'm watching you watch it in picture, and I'm just like, yeah, it is like a few steps removed. Just the kind of meta-ness of that was fun.
Yeah, and just to kind of the fucking deep dig Saga references are kind of mopping in there because while they're chatting on the side and the crowd was watching the illusions fight, they get lost concentration. She just referred to, like, it just looked the same as like a bit from Alien Soldier.
Yes.
That's why his mind is instantly kind of defaults to when he's not concentrating on anything else.
And the amount of times the uncle actually does, they have to turn to him and go like, that was genuinely cool. Like, that was a real cool fantasy thing you did. He's like, yeah, you do have to learn to rely on others. What a beautiful fucking lesson to teach them. It's like, yeah, like in the Guardian Heroes, or not in Guardian Heroes, with the undead hero, he mentions the specific.
That's Guardian Heroes, yeah.
Oh, it is Guardian Hero. I thought I had the wrong name of it. Whereas it's like, yeah, you got to rely on your your computer control character to take some of the fucking damage. And it's just like, oh yeah, he learned everything about morals from video games and Sega games. I forgot. Yeah, completely undoes his own coolness all the time.
And then at the end, the uncle and the nephew turn into dinosaurs because the nephew in episode 7 was casting spells by using abbreviations, and the spirits are mad at him.
Yeah, you've got to ask nicely. You got to pay your dues. You got to chat to the wind spirit. Like, don't just expect things of it. And obviously, the changing form spirit will change you into a dragonoid. And she's like, okay, that one's a bit more extreme. And it's like, all right, we'll both turn into velociraptors now and go blah 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 blah. And that's the cliffhanger, I guess.
Maybe it's like switching something off and on. You gotta go all the way on, and then you gotta turn it all the way off again.
Yeah.
You gotta do a proper to reset the factory mode.
Then
or like a Sega console.
Yes, indeed. We've got Detective Conan, the Culprit Hanzawa, episode 8. Hanzawa is now hawk sitting. For Hakuba, who apparently, ever since he did some work in England, his hawk, Watson, has developed a taste for blood.
Well, that suits my murder plan. I'll train the hawk to kill for me, or perhaps like retrieve a key or open a window. Yes, fly, my pretty, kill. No, stop,
do like
stop.
A locked room
Don't do that.
Thing.
No, Jesus
He's
Christ.
just attacking me for my blood.
It's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I hate it.
And I do like the fact that every time it cuts to your man, this would-be Sherlock Holmes, he's just like, do remember, don't fuck with me because my dad is the chief of police, and that means I could send you to jail, basically, is the implied thing.
So, yeah, he's at the pet shop to get some hawk food, which apparently they sell there.
Yeah, I don't know, fucking fresh frozen gerbils, I suppose.
Yeah, I think hawks eat like mice and stuff, don't they? And they do sell like frozen mice and stuff for snakes and whatnot. Yeah.
But this appears to be just like dog food in a
like a bag of hawk food with a hawk in it with tongue sticking out. You know, the kind of.
They just have blood and mush it up into like a nice little treat for him.
When he sees a Pomeranian dog, and there's other dogs as well, that puts into his mind, oh, I could get a dog. You can train a dog. Dogs are faithful. They'll be perfect.
Then I can finally do my locked room murder fucking thing, and then I won't get caught by some fucking child or something. It'd be perfect.
How much are they?
So beautiful.
Oh, yeah. No, that's far too much.
They're a couple of grand each.
Yes.
Yeah, initially she's like, "Oh, you want a smart dog for training? Like, how about this German Shepherd?" And he's kind of like, "Those are pretty smart. They're like police dogs, though. I don't know about that." It's like, "Have you got like a fighting dog?" Yeah, we got a Japanese fighting dog. It's like, "Oh, fuck, yeah." So you could train this guy from a puppy, and they grow up really big and bulky and shit. And he's like, "Yeah, that would be great." And he keeps looking back at the Pomeranian.
Or we could frolic in the meadows. Oh, tough one.
And then he comes back, and Agasa and I are there to get a dog because I is worried that as a single man with a paunch, he's at risk, so he needs to get some more exercise. So buy a dog.
And he's like, "Well, if I'm going to buy a dog, it has to be cute and fluffy. Where is the cutest and fluffiest dog?
It has to be a good specimen, yes." And it's like, "Oh, specimens. He's gonna cut that dog up. I gotta save that dog."
So he borrows money from the Sherlock Holmes detective and buys the dog. Now got a partner in crime. He's got to train it to retrieve keys and not just chew them and then sit on them and fall asleep.
Well, it's only day one, it just didn't know what a key was before today.
Well, maybe if he learns that sometimes you don't need to go for vengeance and you could just learn to love a very cute dog, and that's a good way to live your life, and you won't need to be a culprit, Hanzawa. You could just live your life, man.
2 more episodes to commit this murder.
It's not gonna happen.
And fucking, like, he'll think about it, and the dude will just like die in like a horrible traffic accident, no foul play involved at all. It's like, I guess things just work out for the better, isn't that right?
Yeah, there's some really great.
Shed his shadowy exterior and like be the person he's meant to be.
There's some great comedic pauses in this episode, though, of like looking at the dog and then back to the Pomeranian, and the noises the Pomeranian makes as well are just funny in themselves because it's just clearly a human being making the noises.
Doing it.
That's the best way to do it, man. Don't record a fucking animal. Get a person to make it kind of dog-like noises, I guess. Yeah. I mean, like we learned that from John in Vampire Diaries. Like, just make an animal noise. What does an armadillo sound like? New? Perfect. Yeah.
Fucking Bond out of Spy Family as well, who's also the narrator.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, poor dude. It's a living.
Then we got Trigun Stampede, episode 12, High Noon at July.
Pick him up, partner. What was picking him up? I'm trapped in the dream dimension. And people are just going to hell in a handbasket outside. But, things seem to be okay. I'm in the garden. It's just like, hey, it's my brother and I. Hey, man, how's it going? Fun saying, don't worry. It's just you and me against the world, man. I'll always take care of you. I'll always protect you, Fun saying. You aren't the one who said that to me. Is this like, am I being incepted right now? It's like, no, it's fine. I am being incepted right now, but I'm out of here. I mean, he's gone. He's running backwards out of the whole thing. He's fucking like
he's running backwards out of the whole thing and forwards through time as he's getting older and trying to retrieve the memories of his mother-like figure, basically.
Yeah, and just in time as well, because it could have been something really gross here, which was, so they've opened the gate and we can reach the kind of energy core from which all the plants are drawing their essence and kind of can cast that out. And through that, Knight is going to basically impregnate the whole network of plants, and you see like many images of them suspended in space when they got like the swollen bellies and things. It's pretty weird looking.
Yeah.
Pretty weird. So it's like, he's like up to no good. And
he's gonna birth a new generation of things like him and Vash, sentient plants, that kind of thing. And he plans on going to the dimension where all the plants are connected to, like, I'm gonna infect that to make sure all plants are things like us, and we're gonna destroy all humans. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. I don't know how much credit Mira can get for this, because she was climbing up the kind of assemblage of vines and saying, "Come on, you gotta get out of here. You're the only one who can save the world." And she's kind of shooting at things.
I think her constant shouting helped a little.
Maybe it did a little bit. And he's back, baby, and his coat is all a different color now. He's kind of charged with energy, so now his like hair is all standing on end, and it's like, oh, it's like the haircut that you know of him. It's like, oh, that's interesting. And it seems we can compress all of the core of the energy dimension down into like a little cosmic cube kind of dealy. And I was just like, that's my cube, give it back. And they have a pretty badass fight over it.
It is a pretty cool fight. Like, it's initially them fighting, like, I would say hand to hand, but knives to gun in the space. And I think one of my favorite bits of that, there's so many nice bits where he's just shooting the knives back or trying to knock him over in the feet by shooting at his feet. But he jumps like sideways through a window at one point, and I was like, that was unnecessary, but I do love it. But yeah, the chase spreads into the streets. They both grow one wing each, and that's enough. Vash isn't very good at flying. But
this was written in the 90s, so it's,
yeah, you're one-winged angel type thing. But like they use a great the physical space of July. They're kind of flying around the towers and the streets and everything. It looks great for the physical space, yeah.
And Bash is trying to minimize the collateral damage. It's like, no, I love collateral damage as knives. It's just like mussing dudes up, even the dudes are trying to muss Bash up as well. But it's like, well, fucking. I'm the one who's going to do this for fun. I'm going to get this thing out of here. And he's fun jams the cube into his gun. He's got a big ass gun arm, laser cannon thing. And he's going to try and just fucking release all that into space. So then they're flying up then. And then they're fucking, obviously, Nice wants this because this is like kind of, he sees himself as I'm the one who's going to like liberate this. I'm the great liberator like of our race, of our species. And this is like the only fucking way that we can do this now. If this is like changed or absorbed or destroyed, I'll never be able to do this ever again. Like
he keeps shouting like back, I presume like by communicator or something like that to the doctor. It's like, doctor, get the thing set up again. It's like, I think we've lost knives. It's like, no, I can totally get the cube. Just
Please.
Get it started up again.
The desperation, is really palpable. You know, who's usually been, I'm the kind of, I've been like this absolute confidence in my power and my ability and my plan. And it's like, no, he's panicking now. And now it's kind of, it all comes down again is two brothers squabbling over just like you call it something kind of trivial, but I guess it's just like, it's a very small granular thing like within themselves now is just kind of turned into something else within them because they fun. When did you and me like kind of go so different, man? Fun. It was all like we used to be fun, get along so well. From what happened to us? What happened to us? Those two kids who kind of get this way. It's like, fun. You want to kill all humans, well, I want to give them a chance. And they'll just shoot me and fuck me up for it. No, but I'll just keep running away and I'll just keep trying because, if things can change one way, your way, why can't they change another way? We got to give it a chance.
Yeah, and his old thing of just like, well, the humans will hate you and fear you and chase you and that kind of thing. It was like, well, if they chase me, I'll just run away. And then eventually they'll calm down and I'll come back. And they might chase me again. It's fine. And I'll just be Vash the Stampede. I'm fine with that. And it's just like 100 or so years, that's the best you can come up with.
That's the best you got, yeah.
All right, but that's stupidity and bullheadedness, I guess, is enough of a distraction because Vash manages to shoot the cube off, and Knives is still trying to grab it in the beam that the cube is, and that's not good for you because that's destroying his entire body.
Oh, but it's totally rad though. He's burning up. But like the skin burns off and all the kind of musculature there, and then he's a flaming skeleton just shouting them and cursing them at it, like, and it's pretty rad. Won't deny, but kind of all for naught because he fucking lands in a crater and just nukes the entire city. Luckily, by this stage, like Wolfwood and Merrill and all your favorites have evacuated, except for the Professor. I presume he's atomized by now.
Yeah, probably.
But he wasn't. It didn't seem like he had long to live anyway. So,
I mean, like and we get the like. How many years later? Like 3 years.
Just 2 years later.
2 years later. It's kind of like, and in this crater, like that's a testament to what was once the city of July, and was 90% of the population was killed by that damn Vash the Stampede.
Only 90, and the bounty's got up by like
10%.
Or 0, yeah.
Yeah. And you have Meryl kind of like on the road again. It's like, hey, Meryl, you're getting back on the thing. We got a rookie for you. What's her name?
Now she's a grizzled old like veteran, and I suppose she went through a lot in her fucking.
She's seen some shit.
In her fucking intern phase, there she saw fucking a city get wiped off the face of the earth. Is it fun? Yeah, we got a new partner for you. God damn it, who wants her name? Miss Thompson, Millie Thompson. It's like, oh, okay, fucking. Guess I got to take this one under my wing.
And she's just kind of like we don't see it, but you presume she's bought a jacket full of derringers, and she's kind of like, all right. She's like, okay, rookie. All right, rookie. You know, she's practicing in the really shitty news van. That it's just like, yeah, I'm gonna be the old cool guy now.
That's my thing. And then like, you know, just like, you know, in a town far off somewhere, in a house far off somewhere, there's like someone that's kind of like a blonde man with lank hair. It's like he's playing the same key in the piano and saying, "Mr. Rex, are you all right? Are you okay here?" And it's like, "Oh, but that's not Mr. Erics. That's Vash. But why is he calling Mr. Erics?" And then you realize, oh, now we've arrived at the start of TRIGUN Maximum. So it's going to be TRIGUN Stampede Maximum whenever their next project they have planned for this. That's what the whole thing was.
Except, of course, so hasn't some of Maximum already been adapted in the past 12
yes.
episodes?
So it's kind of like they've pulled elements forward of it. It's mostly kind of a thing just to lay out the kind of backstories of everybody. So you know what Vash's like entire background is, you know what Wolfo's entire background is, you know, and you know like where Vash and Nice coming to kind of getting that stuff kind of squared away. But because just thinking back, they kind of brought in so many things, and then they weaved out the stories as quick. Like what happened to fucking like Legato with his fucking ability to control or human body. Like he was like Nice's like number 2 dude after the professor, and he's like, where did he go to? Like was he gone to? Was he still around, right? And he was like a big part of the comic. So this is kind of where it started off there, because at the end of kind of TRIGUN comic, there was a city that got nuked, and it's what led to Knives. It was part of Knives being reborn, but I guess he's kind of pulled a Dio here, where he's like, you know, he's been blown to smithereens, but he's kind of like being regenerated or rebuilt somewhere. He's biding his time that he can come back out again. And so Meryl is going to go out there, and she's like doing her thing. She's going to find out this Vasha Stampede and get the story, or maybe she's like with the insurance company, or because they say we're going to send it to the insurance division. Maybe she's like, you know, chasing down all the claims of damages it's caused, which is why she's following him around. But it'll satisfy all of the whole fun thing going, where's Millie? Sure, Millie is coming in the sequel. Well, whatever form that takes. The thing is, though, TRIGUN Maximum is like kind of the bulk of the comic. So it says it's going to be in the final phase, or is what they kind of had this next bit they're going to do. And so is that going to be like another series of it? Is it going to be a shorter run of it? Because there's so much in there. And I think as well, there's other like dudes. There's kind of like the 3rd episode or so when Knives kind of showed up and messed up that other town. It was some of his other gang there. There was the big dude who's, I think, equates to Great at 9 Knives, who's just a big dude who smashes stuff. And then we saw that dude and he's gone again and never comes back into it. So they've brought things up like in here and this that obviously had to go back to. So it'll have to be at least another 1 episodes, which is about fighting through all these dudes to get Nice and finished off as well. Also, all this commotion on the planet with energy being released from fucking like another dimension has sent the pulse out. And now the second mission from Earth, the second colony mission, they finally located where the last one crashed. So now they've sent out the ships. They're gonna come here. They're gonna be here maybe in a year or 2, but they're on their way.
We got a signal from Project Seeds. Oh, I guess we'll use our new warp technology that actually lets us get to places quicker to get there and check it out. So yeah. There's more stuff they could do, clearly.
So yeah. And just even the fact that this is kind of setting them all up and getting the kind of the origin story of it out of the way, because there's the knives that fund the Vash Stampede. He had to kind of the haircut that goes on like that. But that's cool as a modern redesign. But then in that last fight with Knives, he's all charged energy and it goes up spiky like the way you know him. It's like, okay, so you're trying to kind of get to that version of them, and maybe kind of things were felt like not as TRIGUN-y, what you maybe would expect from something that you kind of those feelings you had over the course of this couple of episodes. Maybe they can kind of like finally pour all that into it now in this next part, and have it be just to kind of the full balls out thing. Because I mean, I thought it was really fun. They're doing some really cool shit in that, like Niles and Vash fight that's spilled out into the city.
Yeah. Like again, one of the things the show does very good is like the visual kind of physical motion. It does a wonderful job of. But I think besides it going off script or it adapting this part or condensing that, one of the major flaws of it is we don't get to hang out with the characters. We don't get the wacky wild adventures as much. It's very much so focused on getting to those big serious set pieces that it wanted to do.
Yeah, like when Bash trying to lay it out for nice, but saying, "Well, all this fun, keep on running. I'll keep on running to the future." And it is like a kind of a city moment where he's obviously running away from a hated gunfire. You get shot in the arse, and he goes like, "Oh!" Yeah. At one point, it's just like, "Yeah, that's the kind of bitch we want." It's like, no, we need a bit more of that as well to kind of balance this mixture a bit, because it's been felt very melancholy, because he's been like really kind of sad Bash for the kind of hear about that. So maybe he'll be like, more of like a jackass. When he gets his memory back, that is. If he gets it back, yeah, he will. So we'll see how it goes. I look forward to it. I think it's even to the best bits of this, it'll be promising what they do, and I'll certainly give it a look and watch it.
And then we got Spectre, season 2, episode 24, A Lucky Day at the Unagi restaurant.
Debatable, but yeah.
It's just it's all kind of in a restaurant, and like it's supposed to be. Kotoko was there, but she's barely involved in it. It's just like
she's also at the restaurant is the thing. There's these two guys, and one guy has invited his friend to the Unagi restaurant. He's like, "Why have you invited me to like a classy restaurant?" I was like, "I don't know. I just fucking felt like celebrating a bit because I've been, my wife died like 6 months ago, and I've been like really fucking depressed and shit, and I've been just really down. And I think I'm finally coming out of it. So I wanted to celebrate with my good friend at a fancy restaurant." And they're like, "What's the deal with that weird little girl over there?" Yeah, what is the deal with that weird little girl over there?
I mean, like this film, like Unagi is like the eel. It's a fairly like strong kind of fish, So
yeah,
it'd be the kind of flavor be kind of something. So it's kind of something like only like a seasoned adult maybe would go
like
here.
They as youngish men are kind of like, "Why did you take me to a fancy restaurant like this?" But then seeing what is possibly a child over there, it's just like, that's extra weird. That's even weirder than us, because at least we're both businessmen. We're like grown ass adults. That's either a child or something like that. And it's like, what's like this? There must be some weird signs or portents about that. And I was like, I'm gonna say this is good luck, because young pretty girl hanging out in a Unagi thing is like it's probably a good sign. But and his friend goes into this whole spiel of like, it's like, okay, so these guys cut it by the belly, which generally is the style that they don't do over here because it resembles like a samurai cutting these guts open. So I think that she's here to give justice to someone who's being sacrificed and that kind of thing. And your man's like, that's a huge leap of logic. Yeah, it is. You didn't kill your wife, did you? 6 months ago, you didn't kill her. And he's like, fucking no, fucking what? That's crazy. You're crazy.
What makes you think that? Well, you look like shit, man. Well, I don't know. You've never been the one to kind of like, kind of like to kind of want to get to. You would still kind of like get on with and stuff, but it's the way I've always known you to do. I think maybe you kind of laying on a little bit sick, maybe you've kind of looking like shit, like intentionally, so that, kind of throws off the sentence. Maybe didn't think I really agree with. Maybe you can think you're overdoing it. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. That's absolutely nuts.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, like the fact that I brought it up to you and you haven't really reacted that much, that means it's probably bullshit. Let's get drunk. Hey, all right, I'm going off home on the train. I'll see you. And your man's kind of walking home. He's like, wow, he had me pegged. I didn't kill my wife 6 months ago, because she was going to divorce me, and I said, no other man will have you, so I'll kill you. But I did a bunch of other muggings beforehand to make it look like a serial mugger had went too far and killed her, and then I did a bunch of muggings after to make it look like it was a different guy other than me. And it's like, I guess it all worked out. And then as he's leaving the train station, that same little girl is like, "Hey, do you mind if I talk to you? Your specific name I have no way of fucking knowing, other than the fact that I talked to your wife's ghost. She came over to me from your table and said, hey, this guy killed me." And I was like, "Whew, that's really fucked." Anyway, the way you said you've been feeling great because you're about to give yourself up to the police, and you think, then she'll stop haunting me. It's like, no, she's not gonna stop haunting you. She might get bored someday, but she's not gonna stop haunting you. You'll probably have a better time in prison, because right now you'll have to still work for a living, and have your wife's ghost make you feel like shit. Whereas you get room and board and food in prison, so probably better off there. Anyway,
I gotta go. I know about these things, but I can't really do anything about them, though. And in this case, also I choose not to, because you're a piece of shit.
Like, did you come here to fucking catch me for a murder? He's like, no, I came to the restaurant because I wanted to have the eel so I could have lots of sex with my boyfriend, because it's good for virility.
Ah, I see. I thought you were a cool, like, spiritual detective. It's just you're a piece of shit too, but in a different way.
So she picks up her boyfriend from Amazon and is like, "Hey, are you mad that I went to the eel restaurant?" He's like, "No." It's like, "Because you work night and day because you don't need to sleep or eat. So now we're gonna have a lot of sex." The end.
I imagine this is like, a very short chapter or a very slim,
Yeah,
bit of a story or all. It's probably could be one that published in the magazine for all I know. Everyone's saying, yeah, but it'd be good enough for an episode if you kind of mess about it. But it was
like, I enjoyed the last one with the inter-family intrigue and mystery and that kind of shit, but it did feel drawn out. So it was nice to be a random guy murdered someone a while ago, and this has nothing to do with our main characters, but they just sort of like ships passing in the night.
A ghost was involved. The fun and happened. No, it just felt like a few cast spirit bits kind of put together. Fun. And this will do for an episode. It's a weird one to kind of end off on. You think it was like they could have pulled like a later on story that might have done better for one episode thing, and have like the end of the last little arc, little case, like be the Capra just because it kind of as portents from saying, "Oh, maybe this is all part of her plot as a diversion. So she can do her real big plot," and they kind of left you on a little tantalizing thing for the next time they make any more of this. It's like, I don't know. I suppose they only have what's there to adapt, so they just gotta work what they got. So
yeah.
Let's maybe shuffle that order a bit around, But who knows how and when these got made,
I mean, like, I still enjoyed it. It's still exactly the kind of story that I like this show doing, where just people talking at each other.
People talk in a room.
And like, there's ghosts and monsters and spirits and spigums, and it's just like, yeah, but we could just like talk it out and shit. And all right, your life is ruined now. Bye. As the small little girl like just ruins your shit, like makes it far worse for you. Generally because you're a bastard, but still.
Karma's a bitch. That one over here. That's her. She's Karma.
Right. Then we've got Vinland Saga, Season 2, Episode 12, For Lost Love.
Poor Kettle.
Yes.
Life falling down around your ears with you idiot sons. Yes, both of them. They're both idiots.
Start with a mysterious hooded stranger hiring a bunch of goons to go fire that guy. Not even fired. Tell him he hasn't even been hired. Oh, also, could you insult him a lot? I will buy you drinks if you insult him a lot.
Oh, I'll give him a fucking going to, man. I'm probably going to go too far. This is going to be like, I would have done this for free, but all right.
These are the least subtle. I mean, like, among non-subtle Vikings, these are the least subtle ones, where they're all just going over, go like, hey, you know the way you went for that job? Shut up. Fucking, I'm telling them. They're not very good at trying to keep it on the DL, all right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I'd watched Bungo Stray Dogs before I watched this, and the way in which at the end of Bungo Stray Dogs, two characters are discussing humanity, essentially, and it's like, it's kind of borne out in this episode of Vinland Saga as well, of like, certain people thinking like human behavior is predictable, and therefore you can take
best laid plans of mice and men.
But then actually turning to not quite be as predictable as they thought at the end.
Yeah. I mean, like, predictable. It's still going his way technically, but yeah.
Yes, I mean, yeah,
it's not going exactly according to plan, but it's enough that it's just like, well, that gives us an excuse. So yeah.
They correctly calculated Olmar's behavior. They just did not expect his brother to spot the trick, and then
they also didn't expect a random explorer to get them out of Dodge, basically.
Yeah.
It's like, there's all kinds of random things in the air that you can't predict. Yeah.
It's like Thorgil he's just Rao. He's just fucking Viking Rao, really.
Yeah. I mean, he's a lot more chill than Rao, I would say.
It's a kind of like, quiet rumbling thing, and also he just murders the fuck out of dudes because strength is what makes right, and say, no, we're in the cunning, royal intrigue stage of our history. You can't be that anymore. And say, what? Why not? I thought it was like a law, and saying you can't do with somebody for honor, and saying, no, you can't do that. That's never been a thing, not for ages. Like,
Yeah.
So I'll fight my way out anyway. That's all I know is
the 5-man Viking. It's a 5-man Viking goon squad. They rip the piss out of him, and therefore he the young brother challenges them to a duel. Which your end's like, I mean, like, I guess it's 5-on-1, but like, I'll just fight him, lads, and I'll rip the piss out of him and just get a few digs in, and then probably kill him. You know how this goes, and it kind of gets like, obviously he's getting his ass kicked, but his big brother's here to not save him, but to give him encouragement. It's just like, listen, either he insulted you, so either he dies or you die. That's how this fucking goes. I'm rooting for you. Off you go kill him. So.
I don't mean it in a figurative way either, but when saying, no, well, you will die, you know, the man you could have been is going to die. No, I literally would fucking kill you if you don't fucking step up for our family, all right?
Kill him now and do it. And then you have your shadowy figure from the things who's earlier demonstrated his ability to kill a butterfly with a coin. It's just like, fucking hell.
I can also kill eyes with coins.
Like a coin into his eye. It's like, geez, my eye. And then gets stabbed in the neck.
Really see that go in. Because you can see that little kind of bevel, the little kind of fucking thing on the edge of the coin, you know. That's the detail you get. And the detail you get as you kind of just squidges right in there. It's tasty.
It's nastier getting stabbed in the eye with a coin flicked into it than it is that the sword that goes through his throat immediately after, which is more like an afterthought basically of what kills him. And then Thorgil is kind of like, all right, brilliant, you got him, brother. I'll take it from here, because it's, you know, it was 5-on-1. It's all right for me to jump in now to brutally eviscerate these guys, which he does, like chopping up unnecessarily, so like just cleaving motherfuckers in half, and then the dad shows up. Jesus, what have you done? Fucking hell, we're in a lot of trouble. It's like, no, it's fine, it was a duel, Dad. And it's like, no, duels are illegal, we can't do those anymore. It's like, it's no one enforces that law. Duels are fine, like, it's perfectly legal. The guards show up and it's like, did you just kill a bunch of people in a duel? And so like, it's perfectly legal, I'm reasonably certain
it's a victimless crime.
So they try and arrest the family, I guess. Mostly they want Kettle for obvious reasons.
No, they get killed up except for one, and Torgal is like full insane. Now, this is all a fucking like sham to get my brother. Why are you getting our brother full insane? I'm not gonna never tell you. All right, motherfucking, I hurt you some more. Okay, I'm fine. And he keep on spills it then. The fucking king wants to requisition their farms. He wanted to get you arrested so you could confiscate it off of him.
And Kettle's like, what the fuck? I didn't do anything.
Yeah. It's just caught in the gears of fucking of intrigue, you know, high above his station, man. You know, doesn't care who it grinds up. So gotta get the fuck out of here. And we'll do that by the ancient Viking stealth technique of hiding in a barrel on a boat. We're out of here.
Yes.
Ghosts are in the wind.
Yeah, back from episode 1.
Back from fucking One Piece, back from fucking Vicky the Viking.
Yes.
It's a long lineage of Viking.
It's a long story.
Seamen who have, you know, employed this stealth technique.
I think my favorite part of it is like, you know, Thorgil popping out is like, I owe you an old man. It's just like, that fucking don't welch in our deal. It's like, we'll buy your fucking ship for like 3 times what it's worth. And it's like, and also Thorfinn. It's like, yeah, we'll give you the slave, no bother. It's like, Daddy, you coming out? It's like, no, I'm staying in the barrel. I'm fucking really annoyed about this whole situation.
We should also say, Olmar, he's completely traumatized by killing a man.
Oh, absolutely. Olmar's like
he's shook.
He started checked out and he ended up checked out in a different fucking way, basically. Yeah.
And that's a bit like, you know, fun. You want to be the big man. Okay, well, to be a big man in this world, you gotta kill a dude. Once you kill a dude, I want to be a big man anymore. I just want to live. Oh God, what have I done?
Yeah.
You should have stayed at the farm like your dad wanted, but all right.
Yeah, we'll get to how just like the levels at which Kettle has fucked up raising his children. I think will slowly be revealed over the rest of this series.
Oh, this is really imbalanced. You know, fun. Set those sliders too high or too low in some cases.
Yeah. We get Canute learning of the slight problem that they escaped.
This is all your fault, Ghost Head.
In 3 days, Flocky will be here with 70 of his Yoms Vikings, so we can add them to the 32 men we've got, and we can go and take that farm.
Yeah, with 100 or so men, no bother.
That's too much, really.
And we'll basically be 3 days behind them, so they'll have fuck all time to prepare. Should be grand.
I will stay here and talk to the ghost head of my father.
He's like, you're just like me, son. I'm a big nasty head. It was getting more and more flies as it goes on, I've noticed.
Well, disembodied heads don't really keep very well.
Mm,
They should probably be keeping that thing in a bag of ice or something. And then it's like, hey, Thorfinn, what you staring at? Nothing. It's just like, you know, he senses something. There's something coming down the pike right at him. He doesn't know what it is.
Disturbance in the force. There's a man out there who wants the same thing I want, but he's going to achieve it in a different way.
He's going to achieve it doing the most murder possible.
Well, no, he's doing the least murder because the most murder is
it's tactical murder, I suppose.
Yes, because the plan was two people were going to die. The person who Olmar killed and Olmar. That was the plan. Just two people dying in order to get that far.
And then his dad would just be arrested, and I mean, like, you're ruining a bunch of people's lives, but blah, 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 blah. It's for the greater good.
Yes, and it's ruining less people's lives than him having to raise the taxes and tax the common man. It's taking the money from one of the richest men in the country who has made himself this, despite his father telling him, "Don't make yourself one of the richest men in the country." Because you'll become
You're painting a big fucking target on yourself. Yeah.
So there you go. There you go. You should listen to Grandad and Dad and not become murderous Vikings. Stay a farmer, but don't overreach your ambition. So and then next week the plot moves into something. Another terrible thing is happening. Meanwhile, on the farm.
It's almost like the past is terrible and a terrible place to live.
Yes. Yep. But this gave the people who've been craving violence what they wanted. But it is very much it's in the service of traumatizing a young man.
Fucking Thorgil is this carving straight through dudes. It's some fucking like Askeladd action right there. But funny, isn't just like, he's going for the shoulder point and saying, "Oh, the old anime thing, you hit him in the shoulder, it'll be a bad wound but fight." No, he's kind of cutting right all the way down, that kind of like that third of their torso and stopping right at the waist, and so it's kind of hangs off like that in a big lump. It's like, oh, that's no bandages are gonna fix that. No way.
Bodies cleaved in twain, fucking arms chopped off. There was at least one head chopping off. A poke in the eye with a sword, that's not great.
Yeah, a lot of eye trauma happening here. And those are the ones that stick with you. Unfortunately, two get fucking quartered is nothing. But the eye trauma, no.
Because eye trauma always feels like something more likely to happen to you in everyday life.
Very few people run at me with big swords, so yeah, that's true.
I know. I could be sitting out there counting my change up, man. I could just like ricochet off the wrong thing and get me in the eye. That could be me. It's like, oh, Jesus.
There's that one cut where they just like show his teeth in such detail that somehow makes him more threatening.
Yeah, because I've just noticed that because Scary's got over his lips now. You can see they're kind of going, the little tiny fucking little groove of his lip is kind of taken out along with that. It's like
it puts his face in like a constant like snarl or scowl, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a great
Viking
season of Vinland Saga. Wish it was a little bit quicker, but I'm fine with it. I think I've made my peace with its pace at this point.
Yeah, to try and really have the sort of solemn atmosphere while Thorfinn was turning that over in his head. So they're trying to, that thing you can't sell in the same way in just the comics. So they're trying to lay on that thick.
Yeah. Then we got High Card episode 12, Finn, but it is not Finn. There's a new season announced at the end of this episode.
Yep.
To be continued.
Yeah, so essentially this episode is Finn getting to Chris to stop him from sacrificing his life to save his sister. And the various people trying to get in his way or help him get there.
Surprisingly, who is trying to do that, because for some reason the Klondike family have some interest in him achieving his aims. Presumably because once his corpse burns to ashes, we can get 4 cards back for nothing. So maybe that's why.
That is one advantage, but they're also very much so in favor of using the cards for personal gain rather than for the king.
Yes,
So,
because Chris runs into Klondike, and Klondike's like, "I like your style, kid." Yeah, Finn gets into a fight with the secretary of Theodore and gets fired. Um,
he was
so
already like on probation, but now he's fired. So.
He's being let out in handcuffs. But luckily, fucking Lieutenant Junior lady comes up and saying, "No, I'm the cops in this town, and I say, I'm taking him into my custody." He kind of bumps off of her, and we remember, oh yeah, Finn's like a very skilled pickpocket. He takes her handcuff keys and he's gone. And Finn's saying, "I'm borrowing your car, high card business," and he's out of there. And then it's like the black suits there and saying, "Oh, what? Get back here, find a way." And then she's going, "I'm borrowing your car for this business." And she's out.
It's like, did the cops just rob us? It's like, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
So we got a
Chelsea gets involved.
Yeah, because she was in the back seat. She'd informed the detective lady about the whole situation. So she was in the back of the squad car. The Finn's like, he's like, "What the fuck are you doing in the back of the car?" It's like, "I'm here for the rest of the plot, or most of it anyway, to help you get there." Apparently, part of her hand-holding power thing involves the power to jump really high.
She's got serious ups. Yeah,
that was an undocumented part of it.
I was waiting for her to pull out to achieve like another card on her she didn't tell him about, but I don't know. Maybe there's some kind of like attraction for her. If she's holding his hand though, and she wouldn't fall down if she knew she could achieve that kind of velocity. She's got some secrets. Maybe it'll come out.
I was wondering, was it like oh God, I'm fucking showing my age. I was wondering, was it like a Knuckles Chaotix thing where you use the stretchiness between the two characters to kind of like propel yourself further up the platforms and shit?
It could be some very Jojo style application of weak ability, which is what Finn thinks of fun saying. It ain't the cards you're dealt, it's how you play them. But
But yeah, the rest of the guys, once they've fended off the attack from Klondike's men, go off to help him.
That was the fucked up thing. Where it's like, "Dad, can we go get Finn now? We need to go get Finn." He's like, "No, protect the king." And he's like, "All right. I mean, like, we'll shoot up." Oh God, what's the name of that place in London? It's the fake
Westminster.
It's Westminster, but it has like the card faces on Big Ben and that kind of shit. But like just shooting a shitload of rockets on the interior of it. It's like, "Dad, I killed all the baddies. Can we go?" It's like, "Oh yeah, there was no one in that room. You were just a distraction, son. Good job. Now head back to the office and do what I say." And he's just like, "Hey lads, we're gonna go get Finn. All right.
High card, mobilize."
Because Finn has been chatting to the old dude who has been listening in on the police radio. I'm just like, okay,
and remember, he's the guy who manipulated all this to have happened in the first place by tipping those two off to go and follow them on the train.
So he's up to shenanigans, but he's like, "I couldn't help but overhear as I've been listening to you this entire time through the police radio.
Yeah,
that you're trying to do this."
If you've seen Bernard take all those like late night phone calls, you would assume he's probably talking to Theodore, is he? If I'm saying, is he talking to Theodore? Because he's always just fucking listening in. We don't get privy to that conversation.
Yeah, or is he even in those calls? He's just listening to other people's calls.
Yeah.
I assume also because my guess is because of all the talk of buddies, we're buddies, that we'll eventually get a flashback to Klondike and Theodore and your other lad, and they'll call each other buddies as well.
They were once friends, but now enemies, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like the way they get him to the spots because they need to. Chris has decided to perform this magic ceremony in the Millennium Eye.
Because he said, like, and again, like Finn and your one figured this out because it's like, what did he say the last time to his sister? It's just like, "Oh, we'll go on the fake Millennium Eye next time," and it's like, this is the next time. That's how he's going to go out because he's a fucking hopeless romantic and that kind of shit. It's just like, oh, that's absolutely the kind of bullshit he'd pull.
Yeah.
So they figured out that part from knowing him.
Use Leo's powers to just build new roads to get them there.
Yeah. It's a good thing I'm in a truck full of money.
But I can only build a ramp because we've run out of cash. We got one to do what we can. Jump out the car, jump out of the car. Oh, I got it. I've got the two. The fun two spades can't do shit, but it ain't the cards you're dealt. It's how you play them. Shooting a straight 9 on one shot's all I need.
I think they literally put in a line about I gotta be a straight shooter, and it's just like
cards.
He's falling from like the height of the Millennial Eye, like across the river into the river, while like taking aim at it. And I was just like, that's rad as shit. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's like a pretty good idea. It's just like like 4 of a kind is pretty good. 3 of a kind is also pretty good, but it's it may not fulfill the complete thing of the effect. So Chichi gets a little bit better, and Chris gets not so dead.
Yes,
and also he has healing powers, so it's kind of like the idea of her anime coughing up blood disease has not gone, but it's not even in remission. But she's not going to die from it right now.
Yes,
which is what was happening.
Finn points out, it's like it's foolish for you to cast away your entire life for your sister when you can give her some of your life, and then you can share more time together.
Yeah,
that's Finn's
that would be
argument
better
at the end. So I guess that means Bobby Ball's probably still alive because he only used 2 cards.
I mean, like he used 2 cards on top of a house fire, and that house was like he could be.
He could be. Maybe he can turn himself into balls.
Yeah. Well, what you know is not there is the telekinetic lady of the Klondike family who has a pretty good scrap with Wendy. I was kind of afraid they were going to cut like away from it entirely, what we were talking about, but they kind of cut right back to it, and it was she was kind of flying around. She's obviously unsheathed the sword now, and she's gone kill crazy, so she's messing around her up. But then, like at the climax of that, actually, Fun gets the telekinetic one. The older detective show up and saying, "Sarge, you're here. I gotta bring in these fun things." "Oh, I got this." And when he's going, "Blood, I want more blood," he fires 1 bullet as for a street sign. It falls down, clocks her. Like, you're pretty good with that. Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, because he's like, listen, kid, you can't just point the gun and go like, freeze. It's like, we carry these guns because they're guns, and you can shoot them at people or to stop a problem, which is a unfortunate police thing. But it's just like, in this case, he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna. He didn't even shoot to. Well, I guess he did shoot to kill on the telekinetic one, but she just had to use that to block the bullet, and then that opened her up to get slashed by a sword wielding maniac. So.
And they get stabbed even worse, fucking The Dark Knight Returns. He's in the sewer and said, "Whose side are you on?" I don't know. He's a fucking malevolent black knight with glowing red eyes. I
guess we'll have to find out next time.
Yes. Yeah, because they've announced another series, so unsurprisingly.
I guess the game is doing well enough, or there's enough interest in the kind of in series media of it that it's doing okay. It seemed to kind of like just remember. Oh yeah, I used to like be a lot about this and this kind of right towards the end. This whole thing about from like Finn is like a really skilled pickpocket and things like that. And it kind of came back up again. This like after God knows how long, this in the last half, and the fact that he has a gun that can shoot like a straight line and kind of it's just like if I kind of got a bit distracted away from that. We got to it. Then
I think some of that is to set the rest of the team up, to set the rival guy up and his team, to set the Klondikes up to a degree.
And there's still a lot we haven't seen, like your man who rescues Finn from falling from several stories high.
We don't know VJ's
with the plant powers. We don't know what the fuck is. Yeah, fucking
VJ didn't get that episode to himself either. Yeah, that's bullshit. No. And what the fuck is Bernard up to as well? And indeed, Theodore, who's a head of high carp, he's obviously fucking only like in this for some ulterior motive, because he's also in tight with fucking the head of the main crime family in this city, in this country even. Plenty needs to kind of like hash out there.
And also, there's a whole lot of the deck they have not covered, so I mean, there's that as well.
Well, we get the punchline is that Finn and Chris are reinstated, but now Finn is Chris's superior
because he was hired back while Chris was still in the hospital. So, like, and I love the thing of like, how should we punish Chris? And it's like, put him under Finn. It's just like, oh man. He'd hate that, yeah.
I would really rat him up. But hey, man, there's still bodies. Which again, I know what it means. It means like your partner is in like this is a British procedural sense. Your partner,
Yes.
I'm your buddy, so I'm your partner. I'm the only one who can and should bring you in because I know you best. No.
Yeah.
But that's because you did the same to me. You were the one who knew me the best, so and you brought me out what I was trying to deal with, and that's why I gotta be there for you to bring out what you're dealing with. That's what buddies do for each other.
Then, talking of buddies, we've got The Vampire Dies in No Time, Season 2, Episode 12, Waltz with the Smiling Ice Lord of the Town of the Eternal, in the Town of the Eternal, continued, and Fun Stupid Guys in Shin-Yokohama special version. Which we get.
Yeah, an episode that kind of had everything, and in reverse sense.
Yeah, so like we open with the thread of like he's taken over the minds of all the women's in town. We're just like, how do we counter this? Let's turn to our old pals, the vampires,
the perverts.
Yeah, it's like, well, you're just going to make the situation worse. And it's like, no. We'll hypnotize you, so you can't be hypnotized by him because he can't. It cancels each other out. Basically, you can only be hypnotized by one thing at a time. Apparently,
important foreshadowing of how this gets resolved.
Yes.
Because we already know from a previous episode there is somebody in that building who's already partially hypnotized. So, yes, if you remember that fact, you'll know that
she suffers from ongoing hypnotism. Yeah.
Yes. That she's not as controlled as everybody else. Also, the vampire empress indeed did show up as predicted. She's there but she has to constantly eat to prevent falling under his spell.
Constantly eat grilled meat because otherwise, like, it's to keep my power levels up. But I can't move from this spot. But don't worry, I've called in all the pervert vampires to help you out. And it's just like they're all like, we have to do it because our emperor said. But everyone's like, oh Jesus, not these fucking guys.
Yeah, but again, well, he's used to bringing Lou Talk vampire. He would be no use in this situation.
No, absolutely. He would him and the what's the vampire who will probably like just post it to social media? He doesn't help at all as well.
The etiquette breaking vampire,
or
the vampire without the lower half, because that's his thing.
He's actually not very good either.
They probably both do it,
He's more useless. The other guys are just not.
The etiquette breaking one is there. He's feeding the yakiniku to the empress.
I guess that's true. That is helping. Yeah, fair enough.
In theory. Yes, they managed to get past the women because they disguise themselves as women.
But he's like, well, I can actually hypnotize men as well. I just don't like to because I like the people to think of like me as a straight vampire. But shows what you know. I'm wearing a micro bikini underneath my fucking clothes, underneath my dress that I came wearing in. So I'm a different kind of pervert than you thought I was initially. And he's just like,
what have you done? It's like, what? There's no length I won't go to fucking win this challenge for this town. Really? If I'm saying, yeah, really. Go try to hypnotize you again. Well, it wouldn't matter. I can believe fucking naked. I do anything but that. I'm saying, Dralock. That's really fucked up, man. It's so lame. This isn't how I taught you. Oh man, this is crap. Well, if I can't beat you hypnotized, I guess I just gotta fight you then. No, I just gotta fucking kill you straight up and saying, that's right, I'm ready for you. Oh wait, and the vampire who dies in no time. Shit, I can't do this.
Even when he tries to break his hypnosis in a Draug's hypnosis of the micro bikini thing, Draug eats one of
Neudenium seeds. Yes,
because that will break you out of it, but put you in a flower bikini.
Yeah, because they try breaking the women by hypnotizing them again, but they're already hypnotized, so it doesn't have the effect. So then they use the seeds to protect themselves, but then the flowers disappear, and Drauk flashes Hinachi.
Is vampire Wang
with his wee wee, and she's like wee wee. And it's funny as well because it's like the thing they're hinting at is like she likes Drauk, but it's just like, and now she's seen his dick, and that's enough to break her hypnosis.
Yeah,
it's weird. It's a weird.
And the fact, the break of the hypnosis immediately lets her recognize who the opponent is and immediately punch him in the face.
But not figure out is like, wait, why am I in the fucking Hunters Guild?
Well, she's
Like,
got reflexes honed from her training in vampire control. You know,
Yeah.
she's a fucking a machine for vampire combat. It just kind of just reacts like that. It's like automatic.
So our Draug's nemesis is kind of like, you've grown strong, my young apprentice. So it's like, we will fight another day. You know, that kind of
Standing there naked in the moonlight. Yes. Yeah, I think we will, and I'll be ready for you. It's like, I bet you will. What length you won't go to, because he'll know about his death jams. You're gonna do some really fucked up shit to bypass him next time.
And it's not so much that it's Draug's. He recognizes it and says as much. It's not so much that it's Draug's castle town under his dominion and stuff. It's just like he's got a lot of friends and people who'll help him out and shit like that. It's like that's a different kind of strength, because you're weak as shit, but you have a lot of people who will support you. That's good.
But just get out of these hot pants. I'll be free and clear, because somehow one stuck some fucking hot pants and a corset onto him in the middle of that.
Yeah, it's very much he's definitely. I definitely got the feeling that character is supposed to be like specifically Frankenfurter based, because it's very much him wanting to dress people as himself is very much like the end of Rocky Horror Picture Show, isn't it?
Yeah.
As his motivation, and he's also supposed to be a mad scientist. On top of being a vampire hunter.
Well, it has been a big influence in Japanese popular culture for many a decade now.
And then, in the second part, the Vampire Hunter Guild go to a resort.
All your favorite characters go to a hot springs resort together, because they've all variously either booked it or won it in a lottery, or they heard a good review about it and they've all kind of crashed in.
Draug and John won place for a vampire and for an armadillo in the lottery. Lucky. One man, one armadillo, I think it was. There's a offer if you're in the Hunters Guild, and the vampire
administration.
They're basically like, where are we going to take our fucking holiday? Like our get together kind of holiday kind of thing. It's like at exactly the same hot springs. Yeah. Also, all the vampires are there as well. Yeah. Of course, they've all happened to come as well.
And they've all played into on the hands of the hot springs owner vampire fund, saying, yes, I can lure all these victims in my hot springs and defeat them one by one. But fuck, it had to all come at once. We're fucking swamped. Get more towels in there. Jesus Christ.
But as he says, these are busy modern people, and I mightn't get a second chance for like another 10 years. They mightn't come back here. I was just like, I got to take my shot. My powers are specifically I can have telekinesis on hot spring water, and that's it. So this is my one opportunity to do this.
Just get various skits to them just going around doing all your favorite things, fun, all the bathing around and playing the games and eating the meals to death. But in this case, you get to reverse the whole thing and know what you're expecting. Yes. But this time, it's actually the girls who crash in on the boys' bath, and they're going like, don't look at us. So see, it goes both ways.
Yeah. We also get to meet Odd Von Creature's parents in this episode.
You can see the apple has not fallen far from the tree. They all want they want a hooker to be sent up to the room. They want to watch pornography. They want all the trimmings. It's like, it's not that kind of place.
Sexy boy, please.
Yeah.
They are the parents make the son funnier. Because they're somehow funny a bit.
Look, it's just a fun, weird amalgamation of body parts. He's got a little monocle, so you know he's dead.
Yes.
I say, what are your finest strumpets, please?
And then his plan is finally foiled when it's revealed that, the editors from the book company are also here.
Yeah. And it was like, I felt someone trying to affect the water, so I've cast a fucking barrier on it, because we're the most powerful people, the editors. And he's just like, so when he gathered them all in one room to wash them away in the hot spring water, he was just like, so what did you gather us all here for? I'm going to take a picture to commemorate the thing. And they're like, oh, brilliant. Yeah, that'll be lovely in the picture book. Yeah.
It's a nice photo. And if you're paying attention in the opening credits, that's the photo that Draug had taped to the inside of his coffin. It's like, happy memories. It's nice.
Yeah. It's filled with jokes and lots of stuff. Your man, the Dampier, is the two jokes I love with him. One of why didn't you just fill like the bath salts with like celery or something? It's like, that would ruin it for the other guests. It's like, I'm not a monster.
Well, in the previous sketch, there's so many vampires around. He's getting the thing, the Dosky, the Fleming response. It's just going like.
Yeah, he's stuck like with a little cat face. It's like I have to process too many vampire smells at once, so he can't track the hot spring vampire.
Then the actor is performing as if his mouth's in that position.
I assume he's like holding his lip up as he talks or something. Yeah, it's very good. There's lots of little jokes. Everyone, like, despite how many people are crammed in here, everyone gets a joke. Udenium is like, "What, sir? You cannot do that here." He's like, "Well, I'm usually nude, so."
No, it's just like I kind of liked this whole the kind of flow of it, and you see like the adult mature characters are hanging around. There is fun, just like sipping sake and fucking just having snacks, like fun. Finally someone else to talk to. It reminded me a lot of like something like out of the Venture Brothers, where it's like fun. Here's all these kind of different factions and parties. Usually has some kind of antagonistic thing, but now they're fun here, and it has to be like like this like fucking. It's a fun non-combat, non-confrontation.
You have to exist in a social situation or something.
So it's kind of fucking around with each other, but we can't arrest each other or slay each other or anything like that. We gotta pull our shit on each other nonetheless. It's like, and that was a nice kind of vibe to get off it. And it shows a confidence as well. At one saying they've done a good way of keeping keeping you aware in the loop and giving something everybody in this extended cast to do, and you kind of know what their gimmick is, but they haven't kind of just done that same gimmick some way, same with the same place. We aren't really tired of it. They've actually been quite novel of it and very in depth in it. And the fact that I'm saying, yes, when you get down to it, that this is a form of hypnosis that can counter other hypnosis. It's a hypnosis that makes you put on a stupid fucking costume, but it still counts. So we're interested in it.
If it ended that big like two-parter with like jokes and fun and like teaming up and all that kind of thing, and then had a big party afterwards in a hot springs. It's a hot springs episode, and they're all having fun and everyone gets a joke. That'd be a great way to end the show, but the show doesn't fucking end its fucking season like that. No. It's got more tricks up its fucking sleeve.
No, it's New Year's, and this is the exact same way they ended it in the last series, and I forgot that they did it, but saying, let's just have the two main actors, well, I suppose the three main actors, let's fucking play off each other in the boots and do some stupid like one-off jokes.
Like a lot of it's like one fucking shot of them sat at the Kotatsu, which they also won in a raffle.
Yeah, playing the Switch. When Aldo's reading Mob Psycho 100, or like it's something Psycho something else.
Boring Psychic 1000.
Boring Psychic 1000. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just them goofing around.
It's doing bits. It's very fucking funny. Hey John, can you say this? It's like.
No. That's a very caution point there, John. If you said it better than I ever could.
What is it? What's the dirty word he asked John to say? Not knickers.
Fanny.
Somewhere bleeped out.
Fanny, yeah, which is different here than but whatever. It's just like can I make him say a rude word? That kind of shit.
No.
They do various things of us like, let's pretend to be like posh ladies. Oh, I'll answer the door as a posh lady. I'll order a pizza as a posh lady. But they're just dicking around.
It's just fucking around in the recording booth, and it all made it in there. Nothing goes to waste. It's just,
I discovered there's a mystery to this season, and that is who wrote it, because it's not the same writer credited as the previous season. They wrote every single episode of this season, and the only thing their name shows up on is this season of The Vampire Dies in No Time, and tweets of people wondering, who is this person? I wonder who this is a pseudonym for.
Yeah, it's obviously a newly crafted pseudonym just for this.
Quite possibly, either that or somebody has made a cracking debut. But yeah, it's because I was like,
we've been hiding this day.
Yeah, because I like the first season, but I've liked this season even more. And I was like, I should really look at the cast and crew and see. It was like, okay, the director is like a massive, like decades veteran. He's like sitting on the 91 he directed. So,
well, I love that. So that makes a lot.
But then I was like, okay, what else has the writer done? I was like, oh, this. Okay, maybe he's written things which aren't anime. No, just
maybe
this.
They're a vampire writing from their own experiences.
Right, what you know of, yeah.
Like Araki does.
Yeah, I hope they do some more of this, or if they don't do some more, I hope someone picks up the license for the comic.
It's just it's so well put together. Like again, just like splitting the episode into those different parts, mean it can just cram itself full of jokes.
Yeah, but in some like message groups I'm in, there's been a kind of like a kind of a quiet contender for like entertainment because it never seems to be kind of this kind of like rocket into any kind of like big fucking like view of it. But it's like fun and people who see it and talk about it really like it. I guess that includes us.
Yeah, you just lure them in with John. That's what you do. Just lure them in with John.
I mean, like I'll stick around for John as well. I love John. He's great.
Yeah.
No, I was impressed with it while I was doing this series because that like at times because people just getting introduced to it, it felt like it kind of lean on like a particular kind of humor or did a kind of joke a bit too much before, but then it developed on those towards the end. But then it kind of coming and landing in here, it started off like from the off, and it was just like doing very like actually intellectually interesting things. That's how it kind of drilled down to like fun. Yeah, like what does make a fetish? What is like the kind of psychology behind those things? It was like genuinely interested in actually exploring that, and also making like silly, like, dirty jokes about it, but actually interested in the mentality of what goes into it, and I gotta give some credit for it. Said fair point. I mean, people are into this and they talk about it. I mean, how you talk about it without bringing it up and in an amusing way, even better. It's educational.
So, talking of cramming things in, Bungo Stray Dogs, episode 50. We got no time for opening credits and closing credits. It's Skyfall, the second half of the Sky Casino arc. We've been
that was fast.
Yeah, Taruko, Tachihara, they're being attacked by hotel guests, but they're sworn to only take down criminals and
We're
terrorists.
officers of the peace. We can't attack freaking civilians. And I was like, are they civilians if they're attacking you? That's my fucking question.
Well, they're not like a library kind of like they're meant to be a counter-terrorist organization, like branch of government. So maybe that's kind of around a remit, but it's okay. We'll just give them a slip. Well, say they went into this room. Old woman, where did they say? What's that, Sonny? Oh, they may have went out the window. They got out the window. I see. Terrako, you're Jury Bonnie. That's why you kind of change forms all the time.
Jury Bonnie, what are you doing here? Meanwhile, we learned Sigma's origin. He was written into the book 3 years ago. That's why he's got no past.
Like he's literally like a guy who wandered in apparently from a desert, I presume, in that war zone with the powers and stuff. Is like, who am I? And it's like Sigma. Well, not Sigma because he names himself Sigma is the other thing. But it's like, you're here. You can help me out. You're going to be my best.
Terrorisms.
You're going to be my number one guy. Yeah.
Yes. So while telling him to abandon it, he knew he would never abandon it because he's a man with nothing to live for because he's got no past. So therefore,
this is all he has. This is
anything you give to him, he will defend to the death, which he does.
And because even when like your one's kind of like, all right, motherfucker, let's fucking go, and he's like, 2 Gatling guns, and she's like, I'm going to punch these bullets away, and he's like, well, I mean, like, she's gonna run out of steam eventually, and she's like, okay, I do have to dodge a little. She gets up close to him, is like, I'm gonna fucking get you, and even she's kind of like impressed with this guy's tenacity. It's just like, what the fuck? Like, this guy is not giving up, and my powers are very scary because the reason why people are terrified of her is because she keeps turning people into old people or babies while torturing them, and this is like, you can be the strongest, fittest motherfucker alive, but if you're old as fuck or a baby, there's nothing you can do to stop me.
Because she had a baby Tachihara hiding in a box to get past all the people.
I was wondering where he was because I thought her powers only worked on her, but it's like no, her powers work on whoever the fuck she wants.
As terrifying as it entails, she can turn you to fucking dust if she wants to.
Yeah, she's deflecting the bullets with the kitchen knife. She apparently grabbed.
Oh, it's a kitchen knife. Yeah, she must have stolen a kitchen knife to deflect bullets from a Gatling gun.
And she also says that on top of like the genetically like imbued like fun strength and speed, so that's why she kind of aged up to her prime to fucking on top of that stop like a fucking plane crashing into them last time.
So the detective agency's plan is to save the hunting dogs as to prove that, hey, we're not terrorists.
If we help them catch real terrorists, then that proves that we're not terrorists. And these guys are literally terrorists. They're planning on distributing bomb coins. So yeah, that would make us look real cool.
Unfortunately, at some point, Sigma is falling out of the Sky Casino, and they need Sigma to find out where the pages are. So the plan sort of backfires in that they end up saving the terrorists and not the hunting dogs.
And to complicate things, Dazai and Dostoevsky are kind of enough fun saying this is probably happening right now. So we're going to talk about it's happening right now. The fun plan is, your boys are going to be doing this. I get that. No, it's very cute because I wrote there's a little something there, a little footnote, a little something there on the page. It says, "Hunting dogs are going to find a lot of clues that might lead you to believe the fun saying maybe the page isn't that bad. No, we've got like video things that are laying out of conspiracy, but now, if they're a member of the hunting dogs, they're just going to disregard any and all that evidence that will point to the innocence or claims thereof of the armed innocence."
It was a very general line that would cover a lot of bases, and if you're Dostoevsky and you view people as wider things to be manipulated, it makes sense. It was something along the lines of anyone who works for anyone who's a governmental employee would disregard any evidence as fabricated by the detective agency to make them look innocent, but is actually bullshit. So they won't believe any evidence, something like that.
He's watching like a little video thing that that Sushi Fun saying this is enough. We're all being played. The cave angels are behind the whole thing. It's just fun saying you found anything, Tachihara? Nah, that's more fucking bullshit.
Snaps the USB in half. He's just like, they're fucking trying to throw me off the scent, but they can't get me. We're gonna get those damn terrorist detective agency guys.
This is after Atsushi has rescued Sigma. But before, he gets Ango on the line, so he can use his power to interrogate Sigma. But then Nathaniel shows up because this is Dostoevsky's backup plan.
To shoot everybody with blood.
Yes. And so this leads to Sigma then falling to his death again, and Atsushi and Lucy trapping Nathaniel inside Anne's room. That's what it's called.
Yeah, because basically, we have Atsushi jumping off with a rope tied around him, grabs him, lands on the bottom. It's like, okay, this is the very bottom of the casino. So if you fall from here, you're dead. Right? There's nothing I can do about that. And even he falls from that and manages to just barely grab a thing with his tiger tail for a second. But Anne actually grabs him and is like, all right, now we're in the room. Cool. But oh no, the guy followed us in using a thread of blood he'd attached to you. But now that he's in here,
he's in my room. I can just fucking kill him. He's in my room. I can do anything I want to you in here.
That was a bad idea following us in here because they're safe in there, and also you're fucked in here. So
we can drag him into a cupboard, and then we can kill the other. Why he's doing this? Because the other woman's needs the healing from the doctor, and then once they've healed her, that's how they can bring Nathaniel back on side. So Dostoevsky doesn't have any.
Well, they've done that, but he doesn't know that yet.
He doesn't know that.
Yeah.
It was fun. Tachihara, you gotta peel out of there. Fun. We got new orders. You got fucking search and destroy. You got these motherfuckers. Okay, I'm on the case. But he's thinking back into at some stage in the recent past, she went to visit. Turns out fucking Black Lizard and Gin of the Port Mafia actually survived those horrible encounters where we fucking
because basically, he's been told it's like, okay, you're gonna have to re-infiltrate the Port Mafia to get some other fucking shit, and he's just like, I gotta go back undercover. Damn it! So it's him in his persona of having a plaster over his nose, going like, hey guys, I guess you're okay. It's like, yes, despite all the stabbings we got, all the wounds were shallow. Me too. I guess they weren't trying to kill us.
Yeah, hey, lads, this is where Dazai starts talking about how humans are boring and sinful, and that's why you can manipulate them
on hold.
Dostoevsky
Dostoevsky say that, and Dazai say yes, they might be boring and sinful.
You don't know people, do you? You've never met a human being in your life. You haven't manipulated. I've had a yet. It's like so. It's just like lads, says Tachihara. Think the amateur divinity are they on the up and up? I'm saying, dudes, come on, any Port Mafia also would know about things, and everyone's saying any member of a government law enforcement agency would discard all evidence, but not if you're a double agent and you're in the Port Mafia.
But also, he asked him, it's kind of like the thing of because we just got our asses kicked by a guy who stabbed us but didn't kill us for some reason. Do you think I'm cut out to be Port Mafia? And he's like, you're the most Port Mafia I fucking know, man.
Yeah, Hirosu says
you're exactly our kind of fucking guy.
Yeah, you're Mafia Rung Mafia, and it becomes words on the screen, and you're like, okay, that's the magic spell said.
but you could see it happening like slowly. You're just like, only someone in a governmental organization will disregard all evidence. And I was just like, oh, that's really good. And then I was like, which side is he on after seeing the evidence? That kind of fucking thing. And he's a double agent, so he could easily fall down either fucking side.
Well, he said it straight away. They're innocent. Of course they're innocent.
They're clearly innocent.
They're being set up, and fucking
in full uniform as a governmental agent. He's saying this is like, oh my God, I must convince the people of this.
Yeah. But yeah, he also comes to terms as he's thinking about this. He's like, oh, the reason I've told myself I joined the mafia was for my brother, but that's not really what I did. And
I was trying to not be my brother.
Yeah, it's all these cascading things of like realizing that he's more mafia than he is cop.
And it's a really nice contrast between Dazai and Dostoevsky, who Dostoevsky manipulates people on whole, like in a cynical way for his own benefit. Dazai also manipulates people. It is a dick move, but on a personal level. He knows people are individuals and complicated and messy.
And he also like nudges them. He gives them the little nudge towards what they kind of do. It may not be the way they want to hear it, or the way they like to hear it, but it's the way they have to hear it. And he's going to fucking be the one to kind of nudge them off.
Because he manipulates people on an individual level, it's different from Dostoevsky, and that's how they can play off each other. Because I'm manipulating wide organizations and institutions, you're manipulating individuals, and somehow that's a way to fight it.
And it's also a trust thing. Dostoevsky doesn't trust anybody he works with. Whereas there's iPhone saying, I'm a little bit to get them into this position, but fun, I trust them to carry out the things I have. And
like
I
Dostoevsky wants a better control of them from prison, whereas Dazai is willing to give that trust to them to carry out the mission. That kind of thing.
Also, the same at the end is proved that Dostoevsky is right not to trust the people he works with because...
Oh, yeah.
Hey, it's Gogo. It's me. Talking got cut in half by a chainsaw. No, it's all magic. Ooh.
It was an illusion.
I'll save you, Sigma. Yeah. So yeah, it's the idea of like it's people are foolish. But then
capricious, messy things.
Yes.
And
he also points out
contrasted really nicely with your man, like not shooting the doctor, shooting beside her, and he kind of walks off as like, you're under arrest, and she's like, I'm sorry about your brother. Like, and him going like I wanted to hear that, but I'm angry I hear that, and people are messy and complicated, and not one thing. Yeah,
you forget the human behind the thing, fun. This person is a criminal. This person is a detective. This person is that. We forget the human being behind that,
Exactly, yeah.
And Dazai does acknowledge that he is like Dostoevsky. There are a couple of smug gits who get to sit on the sidelines while
manipulative asshole
rages at life. And it ends with Dazai putting that smug smile on his face as he knows he's got him beat because he understands life. He understands humans better than Dostoevsky does.
Which is a weird thing because then his power in the famous book he's based on is no longer human. It's just like, it's an interesting.
He himself does. He himself is not saying that he's part of the humanity, as he points out. It's in this episode. He's not one of these people raging at God. He's a guy who has got himself put in prison in order to manipulate things from the sidelines.
Didn't ever suspect this. I've been in prison all along. I couldn't have committed those crimes, Your Honor.
Yep. And there we go. Back in July. Was not expecting that when that trailer came up.
That's bananas, yeah.
Well, like I was saying, there earlier in the week, it was just like, well, we see this right there in the opening credits. We haven't had Akutagawa and Atsushi begrudgingly team up to take down the larger foe again. I hate you and you hate me. I actually like it quite much. Okay, I hate you like me and I hate you, but we hate this dude better, so you gotta punch him together. All right, sounds good to me. And then they go do it again, and that's what we're all waiting for.
Yep. And that's it for this week and this season. Right, let's figure out what we're watching next week. Let me bring up the live chart.
What has begun?
What have we already watched?
What has begun? I haven't gone near anything yet, but
I have watched episode 1 of Tengoku Dai Makio, also known as, is it Heavenly Delusion? But it's not named that on Disney Plus. It's Japanese name.
The weebs are in charge.
Either that or it's just easier because international and just give it the Japanese name.
That actually is a fair thing because think, oh, why don't you just use the translated info and saying, yeah, but it's all translated into English so well, and you're just assuming it's kind of called that. So what's the base name of it? It's this.
Yeah, I enjoyed the first episode, and then I saw somebody say that some people might not like the twist at the end of the first volume. I saw the twist at the end of the first volume, and I was like, let's hope that's not as poorly performed as it sounds in the abstract. And then I looked at the TV tropes page, and I was like, that sure is the word rape 25 times on the TV tropes page for this show.
Ooh.
All right.
And I was like, ooh, I mean, the first episode's good, but there's a scene in it which is now cast in a slightly different light based on what I learned of the twist at the end of the first volume. Having said that,
right,
the first episode's
give it a look,
really well
but that is a whole lot of fucking red flags to be a fucking
that
red
is
parade,
yeah.
basically.
And I was like, do I want to be discussing that weekly on a podcast? Is more the thing.
Yeah.
There's Hell's Paradise.
Yes.
There's My Home Hero, which I've kind of watched. It doesn't look great in terms of animation. It is ridiculous trash. I kind of wished it looked as nice as Tengoku Daimakyo. Then it would be exactly up my street.
It would even take Inuyashiki, which it's kind of got some parallels with.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. It's nowhere near as bonkers as that. It feels like I'm watching. It feels so close to like being a tipping into Death Wish territory.
Oh, that's what I thought it would be. Is Death Wish? Well, it's about a father trying to go and get revenge for his daughter. That's what Death Wish is. I guess it's gonna be. It's the kind of thing you kind of wonder why they made a cartoon out of it. Why? That's one of these cases I feel for me.
Yes, except because the comic is currently at 19 volumes, so there must be more to it than just a man murdering the accused. I know what the more of it is at the end of the first episode. But
okay.
They're all in a coma, and they're just like imagining that they've.
The main problem it's got is that it doesn't look great.
Yeah.
Right.
Unfortunately, there are no subtitles for You2 Nya, which is a web short on YouTube about influencer cats with Aki Atsuka doing the narration.
That sounds so fucking good.
That's
Why
us.
don't we have that?
That's literally our market. What the fuck?
Then what else do we have this week? Ancient Vegas' Bride Season 2, which I can't remember if I'd sworn off watching that at the end of the last season.
You weren't seem keen to go back to it. No, because it's been so long.
Dr. Stone.
Yeah.
Back.
What's out this time? I was interested in looking at Skip and Loafer things. I heard like good things about the comic. Like, oh, that could be a
yes.
I've
seen people talk about that, and I've seen people talk up My Love Story with Yamada-kun at level 99.
Yeah, that sounds similar to one
director.
that was. Sounds similar to one that was out there. Like I think it was like probably a couple of years ago, probably more years ago than I thought. It was just they meet in the MMO game, but it's not set in the MMO game. It's just a more in real life, but it's like you can only kind of be like honest or sincere about to themselves and each other when they're like in the MMO game, and then it's kind of how the relationship comes out from there into the real world. There was a scene just like that a couple of years back, and I can't remember what it was called.
That does sound familiar. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see why people are excited because it's the director of Nana and My Love Story. So I think that's why. Having said that, he's also the director of Some Things I Hate. So
I think it was as well as it's
Sakura as well. There you go.
It is as well as it's like this is like like a romantic comedy, but they aren't in high school. They're actually like you're in college. It's kind of like that, but they're more or less adults having an adult kind of meet cute here. So
yeah, young adults, but like still, that's a different feeling.
And Mashal and Birdie Wing. They're April 7th.
Oh yeah, Birdie Wing's back. Fuck.
Yep.
So those two at least. We'll do Mashal and Birdie Wing and Vinland Saga and Uncle from Another World and
And
Hanzawa
the rest of
and
Hanazawa.
maybe
Yeah.
whatever else we catch
No, I mean,
and
like this
can briefly discuss. But,
probably Dr. Stone as well.
yeah,
There's
Dr.
a
Stone.
bunch
Yeah,
there that's like
that's enough.
fairly
Yeah,
like
there's
that's
there's two things returning. There's one thing we want to check out because we like the comic. There's Hell's Paradise we like because we like the comic. So yeah, we can probably give Tengoku Daimakyo a miss then. And if you don't
I
fancy
might check it
watching,
out just to talk about it and just to see. It's like, yeah, I see if we can see where it's going and where we don't want to be.
But I thought it was quite the sight, so I like to see that. And then shows me a sight I don't want to see, like the fucking the Hellraiser box. I think, okay, that's fine. I don't want to.
I mean, there's nothing in the first episode which is going to.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Set alarm bells off. I was just like,
further down the line, like
I just read the thing and I was like, that might work, but it does sound really stupid written down on the page.
Right.
And I'm not even sure if the full thing's revealed. Anyway, it's the reason why I posted the opening to Living Maze. Because if something's reminded me of Maze, you are probably trash. But there we go. We'll be back with new stuff then next week, and also Vinland Saga, and also From Another World, and Hanzawa. And I probably should just keep an eye on Detective Conan in case anything comes back for them. Hit that as well. Righty-woo, I'm going to hit the old stop streaming button. Goodbye, viewers.